now I would like to know more about what are the elements, what are the conditions to thrive for you, because there are so many balls in the air. How do
I
you
think
keep yourself recharged, and how can you thrive?
so thriving is a very interesting word. I used to say, put me in any situation and I'll survive. And then I had to do a reframe of that particular sentence, because when you say you're surviving, you're a victim and you're surviving. When you say you're a thriver, you will thrive. And now, so I've changed that sentence from me being a survivor to me being a thriver. Put me in any situation and I'll thrive. Thriving has a lot of different angles. We as human beings, our physical body, our spiritual body, there are a lot of layers to us. And being able to truly kind of holistically take care of each of those, whether that be working out, whether that be meditation, whether that be quality time with people who recharge you. So community, family, friends, or your own personal alone time in nature. For me, nature is when I'm by the ocean or when I'm by the beautiful redwoods here. That is a best way for me to recharge. And then I come back refreshed. Or when I go and work out and the endorphins that I experience, or when I go and listen to good music with friends, or when I see my little niece dancing to music and she's 11 months old, that is what brings joy. And then simultaneously investing in spiritual growth, knowledge, constantly learning, both individually as well as in relationship with others, has definitely helped from a thriving perspective, and being able to take on challenges even when you don't have all the answers.
This is kind of a limiting belief that that you survive. So I guess you challenge this assumption, which is an interesting concept. I think we are all, every individual has limiting beliefs, and this is kind of we don't see it often, but this is blocking us from like the real growth. So it's an interesting point that you mentioned. And what does the reality of life look like? How is a day? How is a day that? What's a typical day that you have?
Full of meetings, but apart from that, it's interesting. I have been working with my admin, and there was a time when I'm like, I need 15 minutes in my calendar to meditate in the middle of the day, or I need focus time, because unless you have the quiet to be able to think through things, you're constantly chasing. And so investor meetings, customer meetings, meetings with the internal teams, the ability to have those and simultaneously find time to create is a constant balance. Right. My business partner, and because we do manufacturing, we have to balance out going into work as well. For him, it's important that I come into work, because when we work together, we get recharged. As human beings, we all get recharged from each other. And so a typical day will constitute all of that. In addition, I try to definitely carve out time to read, carve out time to go work out. And then when possible, also have social aspects, because the holistic approach of all of this makes us better at everything we do. And then while we have all of these schedules, you have to be prepared for the unknown.
This means also having white spaces that are not planned.
And being able to have the agility and flexibility to create different schedules when suddenly you're faced with different kind of situations that you have not actually accounted for.
You mentioned a few habits that you have with the meditation and the recharging in nature and with music and friends. And yeah, what's a typical, what's your most important daily habit that you have?
Most important daily habit, making my bed in the morning is somehow very important to me. I also like to work in a very clean environment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not able to operate when there is a lot of clutter.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to have a very clean working environment. In addition, I like to spend some quality time with my cats. They ground me. There is a sense of presence that comes in when you're 100%, say with a pet, with a child, when you're spending that quality time with a friend, and that being mindful of and being completely present truly stops time. And so some of those are on the daily kind of practice perspective, as well as I try to incorporate working out at least 4 to 5 times a week, for sure. And then once a week, at least going into nature at least once a week.
Wow, that's yeah, that's amazing. Because I see that daily habits or rituals are really important, but there is as there are benefits to daily habits, there is also limitation. All structure that you have is also limitation to being able to balance and being flexible. So how do you disrupt your habits?
I have a very curious mind, so I'm constantly learning new things. That allows me to not have just a specific routine or get stuck in a specific routine, because when you're learning new things, you have to force yourself out of comfort zones, things that you don't know, and be okay with not knowing. And so that's, I think, and simultaneously, your daily rituals or the way you like doing certain things also grounds you and is anchoring, right? So there's nothing wrong with having a balance of both.
You alluded to reading. What was one of the most important books that you recently read that gave you a new insight?
I'm actually currently reading The Artist Way, and I'm part of a group, and we're doing the practices within The Artist Way together. And it's very, very interesting to think that each one of us has an artist within us. And the artist doesn't mean a typical, whether you can paint or you can play music or you can write a book. When I'm creating a business, I'm an artist as well.
A creator.
And exactly. And that reframe, for the longest time, I used to believe I'm not artistic. That was a limiting belief that I had. So this book kind of gives you very practical tools to break through some of those limiting beliefs and show that once you connect with your creator, your artist, you're connecting to the source that has created you. And it's pretty powerful.
Thank you for sharing that. I will check this book out. I'm always interested in reading new books. As a last question that I would like to ask you now is, who do you consider top achievers in your life, and who would you think would be important to interview for my unthinkable conversation?
Oh, I'll have to think and come back to you about who else. You know, what's interesting is top achievers is a very interesting question, because what my mom has done for my sister and me, and the comfort and safety she created for us with the resources or the limited resources she had, she did the unthinkable. Okay. Both her daughters are co-founders and are passionate about following, and her other children as well are passionate about following their dreams. My brother, when COVID hit, his entire ward was converted into the COVID ward. Our family was getting messages every day about what was happening in his ward and how his patients were surviving or not surviving. He did the unthinkable.
Mm.
He gloved up and he said, I have to work with and help my patients. He could not see his kids or his parents for months because of how he was showing up. My sister in England and my brother-in-law helped numerous families. He was a pharmacist. He was still delivering drugs when he got COVID, and he passed away. He was doing the unthinkable.
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you. My sister and my niece and my nephew survived. They did the unthinkable.
Yeah, I have same mentality over the years. I just found out that it's really personal. What's unthinkable for each person is something else, and it's not about it's not about putting people on pedestals. It's about having this conversation that each of us can do the unthinkable.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Marcel, and love what you are doing. I love seeing all of your pictures of jumping into cold water, running in from snow. So you do that every day and, are paving the path. So good luck to you as well.